Hi, friends. Welcome to Enlightened World Network. Dr. Ruth Anderson here for a new month numerology report. It's the new month forecast. And our very favorite numerologist, Michele Landers, is here with us today. Michele, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Ruth, and thank EWN so much. So I'm so flattered I'm your favorite numerologist on EWN, but I don't think there's another one. But anyway, I'll take the compliment.
There's a couple more, but
okay, thank you. So are we excited for November? Yes, let's be excited. It's how can I say this? Just like I always say it, I guess there's the good times and then there's the bad. It's the best of times, it's the worst of times, like last month, but there's some really good, I'm going to lead with that, I think, some really good energy. And of course, there's challenging energy. So what my job is to put it out there for you. And because this is a global interpretation, it affects everyone to one degree or another. So it's not just hitting the world, it's hitting you personally. And your job is just to be aware of what those transits are, and then you can behave, I guess, accordingly. So just a reminder is one of the things I had mentioned last month, that somebody may fall from power. And sure enough, what happened? Kevin McCarthy, the House Speaker, fell for power. He was, fired, let go, which was shocking. But and then, of course, we did have what it seemed to come out of the blue, the Israel conflict, the Hamas-Israel conflict. So, these things, they happen, they can be explosive, but I think we're going to get through all of it in a new and a better way. So the theme this month is the beginning of the end, and endings and great beginnings. So we just had a very powerful eclipse on the 28th. And I always like to mention that the eclipses can be with us for 6 months. It's not just a one-day thing. It lasts for a while. And this eclipse can bring endings, which has the energy of the number 9. And 9 is the energy for the world in November. So a lot of things can peak in November. Some people, when they hear endings, they unfortunately automatically think of something's bad's going to happen, but that's not necessarily true, because if you've had an illness for a while and then you're in a 9-month, many times it can bring the closure to that illness, as an example. And there are other things too. There are some things that we really want to end. So it can bring completion for something that's also been happening for 2 years. Now, I don't expect people to, unless it's really top of mind or something big that they've been working on or wanting to complete. So if you remember, for me, there was nothing that I remember to, well, that's not true. I got to correct that. It has to do with my book. Yeah. I guess it's coming to a completion this month. So it may bring for some people something that we've been working on, or on the world stage, something that's been happening that can come to completion this month. This month requires change. And when I say that, I really encourage people this month, especially, what do you need to surrender, if anything, in order to set you free? And it seems like on many levels, it seems like there's this demolition going on. And quite honestly, there is. But it's a reminder, which I think I've probably said 7 or 8 times this year, this is wrecking ball is really necessary as a breakdown to a breakthrough. And some people say, well, when is the breakthrough? Well, it's happening little by little. So we are in a period of endings, and again, especially so this month. And guess what? We have the 9, and we're in Scorpio season. And we're still dealing with a lot of the the noise from October. And so that is going to die down and then rise up and then die down and then rise up. And Scorpio is a month of secrets. And again, another month where stuff is coming up to the surface. Secrets are going to be revealed. There's going to be, no, that's not true. Yes, that is true. And back and forth. So there also may be some global health concerns, but also I want to add to that the health thing. Even though there might be some global health concerns, there's also a lot of advances medically and more research and innovations coming out. And I think I'm hoping something is going to come out this month. And I'm not sure what that's going to be with, but definitely medical advances. So keep that in mind. And just to jump ahead a little bit, when we enter into Sagittarius season around the 22nd or the 23rd, we're going to be hearing a lot of opinions because Sag is very opinionated. Scorpio is too, but they're not always, they can be very loud or they can be very secretive. Sagittarius is mostly out there. So getting back to Scorpio, though, Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. And 8 is a really in the zodiac, it's the 8th sign. So it's very powerful. And with Scorpio at the helm, it's all about sex and intimacy and psychology and magic and secrets, other people's money, as in it could be loans, it could be grants. It also can bring up fears. It's about organized religion. It's about power struggles. It's about transformation. It's about death. So these are some of the themes. But Scorpio is also very passionate to get things done. That's what I do like about Scorpio. They're intense, they're passionate, and when you can get them to commit to something, they really will do it with a lot of passion. There's truth coming out again that keeps coming up, something to do with aviation. But there's also an attempt to suppress some truth, no surprise. So there's some really good days, some really crazy days, but thankfully and finally, we have Venus in Libra. That's the big, for me, that's the big astrological news this month. Venus in Libra is at its home. So even amidst all this noise that's going on, there's going to be this, not just an undercurrent, but an attempt to be diplomatic, to have justice, things supporting us. So there'll be a lot of noise, but there'll also be a lot of good noise, you know, other groups coming together. It's a really, really, really strong vibration. And the Venus in Libra, it's about love, unification. It's the balancing of the scales. It can refresh agreements. It's like the great hope. We'll more than likely see even more people coming together, which I feel and see all the time, spreading peace, just like you're doing on EWN, these wonderful meditations and spreading love and spreading peace and spreading love and beauty and joy. So this coming together is just so unifying. And it's like people are saying, well, you know, let's work together. I can take one for the team, and there can be a coming together of a lot of peace talks, and maybe even hopefully some turning point. Personally, we might feel that we're getting some more direction, that we're kind of finding our way. So some of the numbers that we're working with is obviously November is the 11th month. 11 is the master number, and it always calls for illumination of things. And again, this theme of bringing things to the light. 11 can also bring unusual events, surprises, happy surprises, but also it could bring upheavals. Now, the USA is vibrating to the number 11 this month, so I would suspect it's a very pivotal month for the US. Shakeups, something illuminating. Again, all over, we're going to have crazy weather. The water element is always there, whether that's flooding, or when I say water, I even mean ocean, things within the ocean, or finding things, ocean, that type of thing. So when we add the 11 of November to the universal vibration of the year, which is 7, we arrive at 18. And when we reduce the 18, we arrive at the number 9. So the number 9 is also at the helm, and it's telling us wrap things up, so to speak. And that is, again, on a global level, on a personal level. Complete projects that maybe you began the first 3 months of the year, but try and get projects completed. So the 9 calls for the endings of things and the completions of things, but is also a beautiful number for the arts. And I was thinking about that, and I said, well, I guess that definitely has to do with the actor strike. And I really believe that this month they will end that strike. I'm pretty positive about that. It's also a number of creativity and beauty and the humanitarian interests, all good things. And then we have these hiccups along the way. 9, what's this flip side of 9? And I know I repeat this over and over again, as in all of life, everything that we deal with has its positive side and it has its challenging side. There's nothing that, fire is great, but too much fire, not good. Water is great, too much, not good. Anything that we're dealing with. And it's the same thing with the numbers and the planets. So, okay, I talked about that. Yeah, for some people in the world, you're coming to completion of something that you started maybe 2 years ago, and that could be, for the world or on a personal level. The 9 also, for all its beauty, all its humanitarian interests, it can be, what do I want to say? Like, sometimes it could be narcissistic. It's like, listen to me. And that's the ego of the 9 talking. Listen to me. And if you don't listen to me, then I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. So we have some of that energy going on. So the 7 year, again, just to remind people that we are that we're in universally, usually brings about like important decision. And it seems like this month, and I have to say the next month, are going to be important decision-making times. It's also, though, a time when we might see or have new ideas, new visions in a positive way for the future. So both the number 7 and the number 9, which we're dealing with, are emotional numbers. And we have Scorpio season. So don't be surprised if you're feeling more sensitive than usual, but that also brings with it more intuition, especially with the number 11 at work. And I don't have the tarot cards. I'm sorry I didn't bring them out, but the 9th card of the tarot is the Hermit. And it's very interesting that the Hermit can often mean a pivotal point in our life. And it's very intuitive, and it goes inside. And it also asks us to take a break and find our inspiration. So that is another important element. Now, the 11th card of the tarot, which I think this is just perfect, is the Justice card. And that's exactly what's going on here. The Justice card represents, well, justice and fairness and truth and the law. So, all right, let me explain this. So if your actions or the world's actions or the collective you. As I said, whatever we've done, this is a time when we're being called to account for those actions. So if we've behaved in a positive way, well, that's all and good. We can expect, positive feedback from the universe. And if not, well, then it's time to pay the piper and be accountable for your actions. So if you're wondering, well, I'm not good all the time, is the universe going to smite me? Well, guess what? No one is always good. So basically, if you're a good person, be on the lookout for some positive feedback from the universe. We even may get some direction, and I really want people to focus in on that, because that's what part of this 9 is about, is getting together in your head, getting the things in line that you really want to accomplish for the next year. And this is a time to go inward and to figure out what that is, to let go of what's not serving you. So let me get back to this month. So this month, definitely be more of the observer. That's very important. Don't get caught up in the drama, which is always good advice. But we are in Scorpio season, and I'm telling you, Scorpio is intense. It has some very good sides to it too that we want to tap into, which is the passion and intensity, in the sense of, if you're going to start something of a positive vein, this gives it good, really, really, really good energy. But there's also that intensity. So things can be blown out of proportion. In the first half of the month of November, we have this Neptunian energy, which isn't bad, but it's not always good. So, but let's flip over again to Venus in Libra. So Venus in Libra can bring about talks of peace, and there can be, again, a turning point, something major. So Scorpio, intense, everything, that Scorpio is everything that's mysterious, what shocks us, discord. And for the past 5 months now, Saturn, the rule maker or teacher of the zodiac, has been retrograde. And retrogrades, again, are about bringing things up from the past and thinking about a do-over. So the entire month seems to be a month of starts and stop. It's like, yay, things are good. And then wham. But if you can stay centered and not get caught up in the drama and think about your purpose and where you're going and the things you want to do, you're going to be fine. Later in the month, and this is the one, there's a couple of dates that I'll point out, but later in the month, we have Mars in Scorpio, Saturn in Pisces. That's water issues. It could be drinking water, storms, floods, something having to do with naval, nautical boats, things like that. And we have Mars and Jupiter is also activated this month. And that's like, again, it's like war and peace. Jupiter will say, on one hand, sure, Mars, go ahead. You can do this. Mars is a lot of energy. Take action. But when Mars is not in a good mood, it can also expand that war-like energy. So again, it's the balancing of the scales here. So some of the energy is pushing you to know that, yeah, you can do this. Just be careful that it doesn't also expand your anger or your resentments. You just don't want to go, obviously don't want to go down that road. And the first week of November, this first week, can bring some intense energy. Maybe, honestly, I'm not quite sure about this, but it could be bringing up some financial issues or banking issues. But okay, I'm not 100% sold on that. So on the 3rd, there can be, oh my gosh, this is the first in 2 days, there could be this earthquakes, either physically or politically. It's a very reactive and eruptive type of energy. There's likely some energy that's going to be around controlling our freedom, intense emotions, maybe issues around safety and security. We may experience cyber attacks. Now that might be in the first week, not just on the 3rd. On the 4th, Saturn goes direct in Pisces, and it's time to put your money where your mouth is, so to speak, and good day to take personal action. It's a day surrounding issues of mental health, medicine. Again, the aviation thing keeps coming up, transport, Uranus, kind of a feisty energy, but it is a good time for you to the good part is it's time to take action. Saturn becomes louder. Saturn is like, again, the teacher or the taskmaster. And so we also have to watch that we don't become at odds with ourselves. Now, on the 8th is when Venus actually moves into Libra. And again, it's home there. So you're going to be drawn collectively, will be more drawn to people that we care about, things that we love. It's talking, it's forgiving, it's flowing. The moon conjoins Venus then, and that could be a really positive event. It's kind of like a good day and a bad week. It evens things out. It maybe even cools down things a little bit. On the 9th, Mercury enters Sagittarius for a couple of weeks. Mercury likes to talk. Sagittarius likes to talk. Sagittarius has opinions, so figure it out. It's a very assertive time. So you can take advantage of that energy. And if you need to, speak up for yourself. Now, a lot of astrologers are saying that there's an intensity that's unfolding between the 10th and the 13th and the 14th, because on the 10th we have Mercury in square Saturn. So that's the day that if there are toxic people in your life, you want to stay away from them because they can be kind of harsh. The energy, again, especially with Mars and Scorpio and the 9, all of that can rile things up. Now, the 11th, boy, oh boy, that is a split day, because we know that 11 is associated with Uranus, and Uranus can be shocking and surprising and shocking at the same time. Uranus and Mars are in opposition, so that's kind of explosive, kind of conflict, blowing things up literally or metaphorically. So be very careful in your relationships. But this is also considered a portal day. Very powerful, very high vibration. And if you add 11 and 7 together, you arrive at 29. When you add 2 and 9 together, what do you get? You get 11. So not only do we have this month and day as an 11, but the total vibration for the day is 11. So I would say mark that on your calendar. It's a very, very, very spiritually rich day. And as many viewers here, they, I would assume for the most part, are into intention setting and growing spiritually. It's great for intention setting. It's great for meditative work. It's great for spiritual work. It can cause surprises, but also know that 11 is the number of, again, Uranus, and Uranus brings surprises. Okay, let's go to the second week. So yeah, definitely mark that on your calendar. The second week, new moon in Scorpio in conjunction with Mars. So we just may need some emotional support. On the 13th, the moon is trining Neptune. And this is a Scorpio new moon and sun, Scorpio new moon and sun. and Mars and Uranus. And this is also looking, the numbers and the astrology is looking like a red letter day. It's deeply passionate. It can bring sudden dramatic happenings. And again, this explosive stuff coming out of nowhere, volatile, but it can motivate something or someone. In some parts of the world, it can bring violence. And I just really, hate even putting it out there, but I'm just telling you what the energy is. And a lot of astrologers are saying that it's hitting Israel, Iran, Russia, China, things coming up about weapons, very, very, very chaotic, maybe some kind of a peak. A lot of concern for the Middle East. So I'm just saying, let's just keep flooding this planet with intention and love, because it does work. The more people we get together to intend, in fact, that might be a very good day to do that collectively. So again, the interesting thing is Mars can be tough, but it also can be resilient. Mars and Scorpio can also support us to stay with things, good things. Mars conjoins the sun, and that is called a kazemi, a meaning of the heart. So it's one of the highest forms or the highest indications of good luck. So, so that's a crazy, crazy day. On the 17th, there's a trine to Neptune, Mars trine Neptune. Don't believe anything, anything, but it's a magical day, but very elusive. Take everything like with a grain of salt. Neptune is peace, intuition, and divine, but there can also be a, pounding there, a demand for peace. What else do we have? 17th and the 18th, great days to get laser focused on what we desire and pursuing our goals. It's a great reset day. The 18th, Sun is in Scorpio in exact conjunction with Mars, and the Moon in exact conjunction with Pluto. So it's massive surges of power. People who want to control, and people who can be quite outspoken and not acting very diplomatically, maybe, should I say. It's heat, like hot-headedness, special forces, impulsiveness, rushing to judgment, anything related to heat, because Mars and Sun, those are two very hot planets. So there's a lot of energy there, but we want to use it in the positive light, determination, tenacity. Now, what else do we have here? Okay, so the Sun moves into Sagittarius on like the 22nd or the 23rd. Mars moves into Sag. And there's going to be a big surge of spontaneous, either, words or behavior, very strong energy, lots of opinions, but there's something about it. I don't know if it has to do with comics, but it's like some people speaking out, but they're also funny in some way, but very expressive, very outspoken. There might be some religious uprising or religious outbursts. Okay, the 26th and the 27th can be eye-opening for all of us, the planet, for us personally. Watch, is there some place that you've overdone, some things you've overdone or overreacted? It could also mean intense negotiations. Okay. And then we have the full moon in Gemini, which can be a little bit deceptive, lack of communication. And I just wanted to also mention about the second card of the tarot, because that figures in here too, 11-2, the High Priestess. And she is the guardian of our subconscious mind and the teacher of sacred knowledge and hidden mysteries. So the High Priestess is spiritual enlightenment, inner illumination, divine knowledge and wisdom. And she teaches us that the world is as it should be. So there's creative energies are going to be present all month. It just calls for a lot of discernment, a lot of getting really serious about where you want, what direction you want your life to go in, a lot of passion. So it's going to be a full month for sure. But what we want to make sure of is that we stay on our side of the street and we get very focused on what we want to do and what we want to accomplish, and just be around those people that you love and that you support and they support you. So we'll see how that all turns out. I think I did mention about aviation. I don't know, something to do with planes or aviation. Some other things may come out. Maybe it's ETs. I'm not sure. But that is it. I wish you all a beautiful holiday, a happy Thanksgiving. Be grateful for all the things in our lives, and the good and the bad, because the bad teaches us, and the good, of course, we welcome. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
You know, it's so interesting. Speaking with Terry Angel the other day, and then with Eileen Murray, and they're both very involved with Enlightened World Network, and we all had the same feeling, like there was something, the word I heard was cataclysmic, not necessarily like, and I asked very specifically, does that mean people are going to get hurt? And the answer was no, because I was thinking, oh, you know, are we talking like huge global earthquake? And it was like, nope, people aren't going to get hurt. But something looming, something coming up, and there's this energy of expectancy, and we're all looking at a global stage right now. You know, I mean, during COVID, we switched to a global stage, and then we were able to kind of get comfortable a little bit in our own realms, and now we're back to a global stage. So it is interesting. You were talking about 9 for the world in November, and you know, endings and beginning of beginnings, and it's just a fascinating time.
It is very much so. But again, what we need to do personally in order to change things globally is to find our heart center, send out peace and love as often and as much in your daily prayers. I implore people to do that every single day. Send out love. We need it. And the planet will be healed by love. Yeah. So,
well, and what we have learned is it doesn't have to be a huge action. You don't have to have peace marches. You don't have to have a platform. You don't have to write a book. It's just going inward in the quiet and the solitude, and holding the planet in love, and allowing yourself to be at peace, so you can help resonate peace.
Exactly. Perfectly said, Ruth. Perfectly said. Yes. And I'm so glad you pointed that out. It doesn't mean you have to go on a peace march, but certainly if you want to do that, you don't have to. Certainly don't. We're not in favor. I'm not in favor. And I don't think the universe, it's not don't protest. Don't be anti anything. Be for something. Don't be anti-war. Be for peace, which works a little bit better than that negative side, against. We don't want to be against anything. We want to be for things. So.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for this, Michele. So
thank you, Ruth.
You and everything that you do for us at Enlightened World Network.
Wow.
And just for you being the soul sister that you are. So, Michele, if folks want to know more about you or connect with you, how do they do that?
Just go to my website, michellanders.com, and there's all sorts of information on there. And there's also a way for you to connect with me for a free 15-minute maybe 20-minute consult, and that's on, and you can talk about whatever you want as far as spiritual or coaching, hypnotherapy. So that's how people can reach me. Thank you for that.
You bet. All right, friends, thank you so much for being here at Enlightened World Network. Michele has been doing this. This is the completion of her second year of
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
And we are hoping that she's going to sign up for next year as well.
Yeah.
So friends, take good care. God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye now.